Meagan Good stars in Forever, presented by Terry McMillan. And first of all, Megan, I want to talk about collaborating with Terry McMillan and what you thought of her early films, Waiting to Exhale and How Stella Got Her Groove Back. What did those mean to you?
Waiting to Exhale is one of my favorite movies of literally all time. For me, it was like super powerful to see as a child, like other women who, because where I grew up in Santa Clarita, California, we were like one of one Black family until probably junior high. And seeing this movie, I just was like, oh, these are women that look like me, who are in all these different phases of life, who are all these different personalities and different versions of what strength is and what navigating life experiences are that are unique in general to women, but also to women of color. And so that film was just like, it was mind blowing to me. And I had never seen anything like it. And it was something that, or it is something that I always go back to as a reference point that helped shape me as a woman and the way that I saw the world. It really was just kind of like a tool like that was available to me to go, oh, okay, there is something outside of the world that I'm existing in right now.
And in Forever, you play Carly, a police officer and single mother of two girls. What drew you into that role?
My father was LAPD for 26 years. Um, I myself had been through a divorce recently, and then also I was kind of in a space of like, I am in a space now of really wanting to be a mother and just exploring all these different themes. And then ultimately, my uncle passed away from cancer, and just having all the ideas of like, what if you were to fall in love again? What would that feel like? And having just experienced that with Jonathan and walking through kind of all these different things that this woman is going through in her life, I thought I'm really, really just interested in her journey and I want to discover it with her. And there's parts of it that I understand so intricately that I feel like I can convey that. And I want to convey it in a way where it empowers other women and it makes them feel strong and hopeful and believe in love again and believe in everything that life has to offer in every season and really take hold of it unapologetically.
What was it like working with Taye Diggs as a partner through this?
I love Tay. So Tay and I did Kevin Hill years ago. I ended up playing the baby's mom on Kevin Hill when I was 24 years old. And that was basically a show about him getting a baby on his doorstep that he was taking care of. And ultimately my character, I think, may have come like season 3 or something. But I love him. He's such a wonderful, like just burst of light and energy and an incredible actor. So to go and to be able to play with him and to do kind of like all this heavy stuff. It's fun to do that with someone who has a very like pure, optimistic, kind of like childlike heart, but at the same tone knows how to like, okay, let's decompress, let's have a little fun, let's make a little music on set, let's all get together and like do a duet and like record it. And everything about the experience was is really wonderful and really special to me.
Yeah, Tay told me this movie actually made him consider maybe having a girlfriend again one day because of the positive relationship that's displayed in this film. What was it like to you to be able to play a character who's complex, but it also is ultimately this very positive representation of a
Yeah.
partnership?
For me, it's really important. Again, because I said I had just fallen in love again. And it's not that I thought that I wouldn't. I'm always very optimistic about that. But what that journey actually feels like, I think a lot of us are scared of it, especially if you've been through disappointment or heartbreak. And some of us shy away from it, and some of us go never again. And so to be able to be a part of the film that is that representation of like, no, they've been through this, she's been through that, he's been through this, kids have been exposed to that and all these things, and to say, no, it's possible. You just have to open your heart and you have to be willing. And you have to kind of say, okay, after what I've been through, well, the worst has already happened. So now I have everything to gain. And it's worth it to just try. And who knows what'll happen? Maybe I will get hurt again for one reason or another, but it'll still be worth it. It'll be worth it to live and to experience and to love and to have to get everything that life and also this person can give to you and to be able to give everything that you can give to this person. So,
Well, Carly goes through it in this movie, Megan.
yeah.
I mean, I had to write it down so I didn't forget because there's so much. And spoiler alert, but this has been out for a while, so hopefully people have seen it if they're watching. But single mother dealing with Johnny's PTSD, a cancer diagnosis, and then she's ultimately shot. I mean,
Mhm.
right when we think the sun is coming out and there's going to be a happy ending, the rug is
Yeah.
pulled out from under us on this roller coaster ride. What was it like for you to read that script?
It was shocking. I literally at that part, I bust out crying. I mean, I literally like caught myself, was like, and I started crying. I was like, oh my God, I wasn't even expecting that. I'm not even watching this. I'm reading it. And I just thought life can often be like that. And I think we try to shy away from it because we don't want to think that way and we don't want to be afraid and we don't want to worry about it. Um, but life does often happen in ways that we just don't anticipate. And I think what's important is had she not said, you know what, I'm just gonna try this love thing again, she wouldn't have had someone to be by her side when she was going through cancer diagnosis and ultimately beating it. And she wouldn't have had the love, which turned out to be the greatest love in her entire life before she passed, you know? And it's as weird and uncomfortable as it is to say, we're all gonna go. And the time that we're here is so precious and we don't want to squander it being afraid of what may happen. That will happen ultimately, and we can't predict how and what that's going to look like. But while we're here, it's so important to take advantage of every single opportunity and to understand that fear, while it makes sense, it's also just a waste of time. You just have to go for it. Like we are going to hurt, we are going to go through things, but there's so many wonderful things to get out of life, and we'll miss it if we stay, hypnotized and stuck by fear. And so, to me, it just was really important to say, I hope when people watch this, they feel that freedom of like, you gotta go for it. You deserve it.
What was the most challenging scene or part for you as an actor? Have you done a death scene before? I couldn't remember if I've seen that from you, but that looked, I mean, that was heartbreaking. That moment where she's holding her neck.
You know, it's crazy is I didn't realize this at the premiere. So my dad was in Vietnam, and after Vietnam, he was a police officer. And we don't talk about Vietnam often, but I understood Johnny's experience because my dad, with PTSD and things that my mother would tell me and things that really, really, really deeply affected him. And the one time I asked him about Vietnam, and I never, ever, ever seen my dad cry before, not once. And I asked him about Vietnam. He didn't even say anything. He immediately choked up and tears immediately like welled in his eyes and he stopped. And he kind of like went like, and then he said, I'll be right back. And he got up and he walked away. And I was like, wow. And that's just me asking about Vietnam. Understanding that about Johnny's story. And then at the premiere, I don't know why it didn't occur to me to warn my dad that that scene was going to happen, but that reaction, it surprised him, and I felt really bad about that. Really horrible about that. I just realized how powerful it is to tell the truth in a story and to be as honest as possible, because there's healing involved in that, and there's people being seen for the first time that either haven't been seen or haven't allowed themselves to be seen. So no, I've never done a death scene like that. I've done death scenes in horror movies, love horror movies. That's great, but this for me was something really different and something very honest. And I didn't expect it to be everything that it was kind of unfolding itself to be at every stage of this film, from just the moment that I read it to the moment that I signed on to the incredible cast I was surrounded with, to Taye, to our beautiful producers, to our incredible director, Charles, to just the movie actually coming out and seeing it with an audience and seeing how much it impacted people. It's a really special project.
And the girls that play your daughters. And I
Yeah.
want I wanted to ask a question about that because this film also talks about things that I don't think people talk about or think about or portrayed often. And after Carly's death, suddenly their father, who's never been around, comes back and
Right.
it's the ability to now take them just based on DNA. I mean,
Yeah.
that brought up some really interesting questions for me. What were your thoughts about what happened to Carly's daughters and
Mhm.
Johnny after her death?
That bothered me. It bothered me because they didn't really have a choice, and here they have this loving father who's been here, who's been present, who wants to be a part of their life that they quite frankly need, and he needs them. And they're being kind of ripped from each other or are being ripped from each other. But what I do love is that the father was trying and that he didn't give up. And even though I think he really went about it the wrong way, I love that Johnny had the emotional intelligence to see that the best way to handle the situation in their best interest is to say like, yeah, at some point it would be good to have a relationship with your real father. I will always be your dad, but not fixing this wound will affect you for the rest of your life. So now that you have an opportunity to do it, it's really about the perception and the attitude and the way that you go into it. That's going to make the difference of what this experience is like for you. And the fact that, Johnny stayed around and stayed a part of their life is everything, honoring his wife, but also honoring the true love that he has for them and those becoming his daughters. And then I also like that, he has a chance now too to see what life is going to bring him. And maybe that's not the mindset or the attitude, especially at that time, but ultimately, he deserves to see what else, is there because he's always going to have his daughters. But you don't want it to be a crutch where they become your life. And now when they do go away to college and they start their own lives and they get married and they have kids, you don't know what to do with yourself because your whole identity became about them. So I think in a way, as horrible as it is, I think it was beautiful and I think it was the right thing for everybody.
You're also credited as an executive producer. What does that mean to you as an actor? When, like, what does that do for you and your creativity and allow you for you?
What's interesting is that I know the kind of movies I want to put into the world, and the kind of movies that will come through my production company. I'm still really kind of narrowing in on what I want that to feel like, but I know the quality of the movies that I want to produce. And this for me is very much like it's just important. It's just an important to take slice of life movies and human experiences and again bring healing, bring help, bring optimism, bring encouragement and make people feel that anything is possible, and I think that art is able to do that, music's able to do that, but especially music, movies, television, all of these mediums are able to create something that ripples out into the rest of the world. And so for me, it's really important as an actor to not just show up on the creative side in front of the camera, but on the creative side behind the camera and be really intentional about what the product is and getting it out into the world.
And you were also back earlier this year in a third season of Harlem. Great cast,
Thank
great
you.
reviews, like almost 100% on Rotten Tomatoes or something. And you get to act with Whoopi Goldberg. So, what was that whole experience shooting Harlem like for you?
Amazing. Amazing. Harlem, I went in knowing that I love this character. And then, by the time it was done, 3 seasons, 5 years, and I genuinely walked away with a family that is not just my sisters on the show, not just my brother on the show, not just Whoopi, who has been a complete like mentor and true friend. But for everyone from Tracy to Amy to Mimi to I mean everybody across the board, as we've all become family in the sense of we lived in this space for 5 years. We were there 2 episodes in, and then COVID happened. And then we shut down. We're like, is this gonna da 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 da? And then we came back. And by then, I was going through a divorce. Grace had just gotten pregnant. And then, the strike happens. And then we're like, okay, what's gonna happen now? And then, I went through falling in love. Shaniqua went through putting her first record out and me directing her music video. Tyler had another baby and then he got engaged and then Jerry got engaged. And so much life happened in these amount of years that were not just happening in real life, but they were being reflected in these characters as these characters were navigating life and love and experiences. And it's definitely my favorite character that I've ever played because not only does it have like a grounding and honesty and authenticity, but it's also like very awkward and very funny and like dry humor and sometimes really like inappropriate humor, which I love. So yeah, it's definitely one of the best experiences I've had as an actress. And I just love the show. I'm really glad that we could give this to that audience that, it's like, hey, Black women are not monolithic, where there's so many different types of them all over the world. And to be able to give this show to Black women and women alike and just say, these are the things that we go through and we experience, and we all understand this and be able to have a great laugh about it and keep trucking through and knowing that we're not alone and that we're going to win. It's pretty fucking awesome.
And you mentioned directing music video. You also directed an episode from season 2, and among other things. Is that something you want to do more of?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love directing. There's something about it's not about makeup, it's not about hair, it's not about you. It's about serving the project. And I think sometimes we get so focused on wearing the crown and what we want to achieve that we forget that it's very important to carry the crown as well. and serve the project and serve the actors and serve the intention of whether it's a movie or a television show or the, just the character. But I love putting things together in every aspect. I love working with actors. I love, I just literally love everything about directing. Like I've fallen in love with directing. And we never gonna get divorced. So there's that.
And finally, what's next? Do you have anything to promote yet?
Well, I did an initiative for Tyler Perry. He has decided to have some filmmakers come in and give them a budget to do kind of the movie they want to do through TPS Studios. And I was the first recipient of that. And so I just directed a film with myself, Terrence J, Paige Hurd, just an incredible, fun cast. This very kind of interesting romantic comedy. So I'm not going to tell you too much about it, but I'm really proud of it. And that should be out later this year. And then I just finished another film called The Empty Nester. And I can't tell you too much about that except for it's about a woman who sends her daughter off to college and tries to rekindle her relationship with her husband. And it doesn't quite go the way she wants it to. And she ends up in this affair with this Italian artist who doesn't have all the wheels, too tight. And so it goes very left. We'll leave it there.